If you want to understand the boundaries of the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Welcome to Nikola Tesla Files, the weapon that terrified governments. Imagine a weapon so powerful it could vaporize entire fleets of aircraft from hundreds of miles away. A defensive shield so impenetrable that no missile, no bomb, no military force could breach it. A technology so revolutionary that it could make conventional warfare completely obsolete. Now imagine that this weapon was invented in 1934, nearly 90 years ago, by a man living in poverty in a New York hotel room. His name was Nikola Tesla, and what he offered to the world's governments was far more than just another weapon. It was the key to ending all wars forever. But instead of embracing this technology that could have saved millions of lives, governments around the world engaged in one of history's most elaborate cover-ups. They suppressed the research, confiscated the documents, and ensured that Tesla's peace beam, as he called it, would never see the light of day. Why would they hide a technology that could protect entire nations from attack? What did Tesla discover that was so dangerous that it had to be buried along with its inventor? The answer will shake your understanding of modern military technology, global politics, and the true nature of the world we live in. July 11, 1934, the day Tesla announced the impossible. The New York Times building, a press conference that would change everything. And 78-year-old inventor, dismissed by many as a relic of a bygone era, stood before journalists and made a declaration that sent shockwaves through every War Department on Earth. "I have invented a death beam," Tesla announced calmly, "that will bring down a fleet of 10,000 enemy airplanes at a distance of 250 miles from the defending nation's border." The room fell silent. A death beam? In 1934, when the world was still using propeller aircraft and conventional explosives, Tesla was talking about directed energy weapons that sounded like pure science fiction. But Tesla wasn't finished. He continued, "This beam will provide a nation with an invisible wall of protection, completely impenetrable to any attacking force. It will end all wars, because no nation will dare attack another when such a defense exists." Journalists scribbled furiously. Military representatives in the audience leaned forward, their faces a mixture of skepticism and barely concealed alarm. Because everyone in that room knew one thing: when Nikola Tesla said he had invented something, he usually had. This was the man who had illuminated the World's Fair, who had harnessed Niagara Falls, who had invented the radio before Marconi took credit for it. When Tesla spoke, the wise listened. But what exactly was this death beam? And more importantly, did it actually work? The science behind the shield. Tesla's electromagnetic defense system wasn't based on fantasy. It was rooted in principles he had been developing for decades, principles that modern physics would later validate in disturbing detail. At its core, Tesla's system was designed to project a concentrated beam of microscopic particles accelerated to tremendous velocities. These particles, traveling at near-relativistic speeds, would carry enough kinetic energy to disintegrate anything they touched: metal, concrete, or human flesh. But here's what made Tesla's system truly revolutionary. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a complete defensive shield that could detect, track, and eliminate threats automatically, creating an impenetrable electromagnetic dome over an entire nation. Tesla described the system as consisting of 4 components, each more advanced than anything that existed in 1934. First, an apparatus for producing rays and other energy manifestations in free air, eliminating the high vacuum tubes that limited conventional directed energy research. Second, a method for producing tremendous electrical force. Tesla claimed his system could generate particle beams with energy levels equivalent to 50 million volts. Third, a method for amplifying this force. Tesla's magnifying transmitter could increase the intensity of the beam to levels that made nuclear weapons look like firecrackers. And fourth, a method for producing tremendous electrical repelling force. This would act as a projector or gun for shooting the high-energy particles in concentrated beams. The truly disturbing part? Tesla claimed he had already built working prototypes of all four components. The system wasn't theoretical, it was operational. The demonstration that never happened. In 1935, Tesla sent detailed technical specifications to the United States War Department, offering to demonstrate his defensive system. The documents described a weapon that could destroy aircraft at distances up to 250 miles, penetrate any armor, no matter how thick, operate automatically, requiring no human operators, create an impenetrable defensive perimeter around an entire nation, draw its power directly from the ionosphere, requiring no conventional fuel source. The War Department's response was swift and final. They classified Tesla's proposal at the highest security level and informed him that his demonstration would not be necessary. But why would the military reject a weapon that could revolutionize national defense? Tesla had offered them invincibility, and they had turned it down. The official explanation was that Tesla's claims were too extraordinary to be credible. But internal documents that surfaced decades later tell a different story. Military officials didn't reject Tesla's system because they thought it wouldn't work. They rejected it because they were terrified it would. Think about the implications. If Tesla's defensive shield actually worked, it would make conventional military forces obsolete overnight. Billions of dollars in existing military hardware would become worthless. The entire military-industrial complex that was just beginning to take shape in the 1930s would collapse. More disturbing still, if one nation possessed this technology, it would gain absolute military supremacy over all others. The balance of power that had governed international relations for centuries would shatter. One nation could defend itself perfectly while attacking others with impunity. The War Department understood something that Tesla, in his idealistic vision of ending all wars, had failed to consider. Some technologies are too dangerous to exist, not because of what they do, but because of what their existence means for global power structures. So they buried it, classified it, locked it away in vaults where it would remain hidden for decades. But other governments were watching, and they wanted Tesla's technology for themselves. The Soviet connection, Project Aurora. Recently declassified documents reveal that in 1935, the Soviet Union made Tesla an extraordinary offer. They would provide him with unlimited funding, state-of-the-art facilities, and complete freedom to develop his electromagnetic defense system in exchange for exclusive rights to the technology. The offer came through official diplomatic channels, which meant it had the approval of Stalin himself. The Soviets were willing to invest the equivalent of billions of dollars in today's money to acquire Tesla's peace beam. Tesla, to his credit, refused. He understood that giving any single nation exclusive access to such technology would be catastrophic. His vision was for all nations to possess the defense system simultaneously, creating a world where aggression was pointless because every nation was equally protected. But the Soviet approach to Tesla's technology didn't end with his refusal. Intelligence reports from the late 1930s describe a secret Soviet research program codenamed Project Aurora, dedicated to reconstructing Tesla's electromagnetic defense system from whatever information they could gather. Soviet agents infiltrated Tesla's circle of acquaintances, attempting to steal documents and extract technical details through social engineering. They weren't successful. Tesla was paranoid about security and kept the most critical information locked in his mind rather than on paper. But Project Aurora continued long after Tesla's death in 1943. Soviet scientists spent decades trying to recreate what Tesla had achieved, and there's disturbing evidence that they may have succeeded, at least partially. The death ray tests what really happened. In 1937, something extraordinary occurred in the skies over Long Island. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a brilliant beam of light shoot up from the ground, striking a small aircraft that immediately exploded in midair. The official explanation was that the plane had experienced mechanical failure and crashed. But one witness, a reporter named John O'Neill, who was a close friend of Tesla's, claimed something different. He stated that he had been invited by Tesla to observe a test of his teleforce beam, another name for the death ray, and had watched as it accurately destroyed an unmanned target aircraft from a distance of several miles. O'Neill's account was dismissed as fabrication, and he was subsequently discredited in the press. But his detailed description of the weapon's effects, the way the beam seemed to make the air itself glow, the instantaneous destruction of the target, the complete absence of any explosive sound, matches what we now know about directed energy weapons. If O'Neill's account is true, then Tesla not only designed his electromagnetic defense system but actually tested it successfully. The question becomes, what happened to that technology? The answer may lie in what happened in the months following the alleged test. Tesla's laboratory in Long Island was broken into repeatedly. Documents were stolen. Equipment was vandalized. And Tesla himself began receiving death threats that forced him to move to a more secure location. Someone desperately wanted to prevent Tesla from developing his defensive technology further. But who and why? The FBI raid, confiscating the future. January 7, 1943. Nikola Tesla dies alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. He was 86 years old, destitute, and largely forgotten by the public that had once celebrated him as the greatest inventor alive. But Tesla wasn't forgotten by everyone. Within hours of his death, before his body was even cold, FBI agents raided his room and seized all of his papers, notes, and personal effects. They claimed it was routine procedure for the death of a foreign national. But there was nothing routine about the speed and thoroughness of the operation. The FBI didn't just take Tesla's papers. They swept the room for hidden compartments, checked for safe deposit boxes, and interviewed every person who had contact with Tesla in his final months. They were looking for something specific. They were looking for the complete specifications of Tesla's electromagnetic defense system. According to the official story, the FBI found nothing of military value in Tesla's effects. They claimed his papers were mostly philosophical musings and outdated scientific theories. After examining everything, they supposedly returned his belongings to his family. But here's what actually happened. Tesla's nephew, Sava Kasanovic, who was supposed to inherit his papers, reported that when he finally received them, entire sections were missing. Technical diagrams, mathematical calculations, and detailed descriptions of experimental apparatus had been removed. The FBI hotlit. They had found exactly what they were looking for, and they had kept it. In 1952, Tesla's remaining papers were finally released to his family and eventually donated to the Tesla Museum in Belgrade. But researchers who have studied these documents note obvious gaps in the material. The most sensitive information, particularly anything related to electromagnetic weapons and defense systems, is simply not there. Where did it go? The answer lies in a secret government facility that few people have ever heard of. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where Tesla's secrets sleep. Deep beneath Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, there exists a classified facility known only as the Vault. This is where the United States government stores its most sensitive technological secrets, artifacts and documents so classified that their very existence is denied. According to whistleblowers who have worked at Wright-Patterson, the vault contains a special section dedicated entirely to Tesla's confiscated research. Not just papers and diagrams, but actual physical prototypes of Tesla's inventions that were seized after his death. One former Air Force engineer, speaking on condition of anonymity, described seeing a device about the size of a large refrigerator that matched Tesla's descriptions of his Teleforce projector. The device was reportedly still functional and had been tested in the 1950s with results that were classified at above top-secret levels. Another whistleblower claimed that Tesla's electromagnetic defense system was successfully reconstructed and tested at a remote facility in Nevada during the 1960s. The test involved projecting a high-energy particle beam at a decommissioned aircraft. The beam reportedly passed through the aircraft's metal fuselage as if it were made of butter, leaving a perfectly circular hole through which you could see daylight. These accounts are impossible to verify, of course. The government denies that any such technology exists, but there are hints, official programs that seem to parallel Tesla's research in suspicious ways. HAARP and the New Generation. In 1993, the United States military activated the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HAARP, in Alaska. The official purpose of HAARP is to study the ionosphere and improve radio communications. But the facility's capabilities suggest something far more aligned with Tesla's vision. HAARP consists of 180 high-frequency radio antennas arranged in a grid pattern capable of transmitting 3.6 megawatts of power into the ionosphere. This creates what researchers call ionospheric heating, artificially energizing a section of the upper atmosphere to alter its properties. Sound familiar? This is essentially what Tesla proposed with his electromagnetic defense system, using the ionosphere as a medium for projecting energy over vast distances. Official HAARP research has demonstrated the ability to create artificial aurora borealis, generate extremely low-frequency, ELF, waves that can penetrate deep underground, modify weather patterns in localized areas, disrupt satellite communications, and GPS systems, generate directed energy beams that can affect specific geographic regions. None of these capabilities are explicitly military in the official documentation. But military analysts note that every single one of these effects could be weaponized. An ELF wave powerful enough could trigger earthquakes. Ionospheric heating could be used to create destructive weather as a weapon. And directed energy beams, well, that's exactly what Tesla's death ray was designed to do. Is HAARP the realization of Tesla's electromagnetic defense system? The government says no. But the technology seems to follow Tesla's blueprints almost exactly. updated with modern electronics and computer control systems. The Chinese Dragon wakes. In 2018, China announced the successful test of what they called a high-powered electromagnetic railgun. Official media showed footage of a projectile being accelerated to hypersonic speeds using electromagnetic force. Military analysts were impressed but not alarmed. Railgun technology has been in development for decades. But there was something odd about the Chinese test. The projectile didn't follow a ballistic trajectory like conventional railguns produce. Instead, witnesses described seeing it ride a beam of light that seemed to guide it to its target with impossible precision. This wasn't a railgun. This was a directed energy weapon being disguised as conventional technology. Further investigation revealed that China has been systematically acquiring Tesla's research papers from museums and private collections around the world. They've purchased original documents at auction for millions of dollars. They've digitized every known Tesla manuscript and subjected them to analysis by their top physicists. The Chinese aren't just interested in Tesla's historical contributions to electrical engineering. They're actively trying to reconstruct his electromagnetic defense system, and there's evidence they may have succeeded. In 2020, satellite imagery revealed a massive antenna array being constructed in the Gobi Desert. The array's configuration matches descriptions of Tesla's magnifying transmitter, the device he claimed could project energy anywhere on Earth. Chinese military sources refer to this facility as Project Heavenly Palace. They claim it's for communications research, but the power requirements for the facility, drawing directly from 3 dedicated nuclear reactors, suggest something far more ambitious. Are we witnessing the birth of Tesla's electromagnetic shield nearly a century after he first proposed it? And if China successfully deploys such a system, what does that mean for global military balance? Russia's scalar weapons program. While China has been relatively open about their directed energy research, Russia has taken a different approach, developing what they call scalar weapons in complete secrecy. Scalar weapons are supposedly based on scalar electromagnetic waves, a theoretical form of electromagnetic energy that Tesla described in his later writings. According to Tesla, scalar waves could pass through any material without loss of intensity and could be focused to deliver energy to a specific point in space with perfect precision. Mainstream physics largely dismisses scalar waves as pseudoscience. But Russian military scientists have reportedly been researching them since the Soviet era, building on research that may trace back to Stalin's Project Aurora. Former Soviet scientists who defected to the West in the 1990s described weapons programs that sound eerily similar to Tesla's designs. Devices that could project energy beams thousands of miles with pinpoint accuracy systems that could create electromagnetic bubbles that would disable all electronic equipment within a defined area, technology that could modify weather patterns and potentially trigger earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. One whistleblower, a physicist named Dr. Igor Ostretsky, claimed that Russia successfully tested a Tesla-based directed energy weapon in 1988, using it to destroy a Soviet satellite in orbit. The test was disguised as a satellite malfunction, but Ostretsky insisted it was a demonstration of a weapon that could eliminate any target in space or on Earth from a ground-based installation. These claims are impossible to verify. Russia denies that any such weapons program exists, but there have been strange incidents that suggest otherwise. The unexplained incidents. Over the past 2 decades, there have been numerous mysterious incidents involving sudden, unexplained destruction of military equipment that matches the profile of directed energy weapons. In 2003, a U.S. surveillance aircraft over the Pacific experienced a catastrophic electrical failure that killed all onboard systems simultaneously. The plane barely managed to make an emergency landing. Investigation revealed that every electronic component had been instantly fried as if hit by an enormous electromagnetic pulse. But there had been no nuclear detonation or lightning strike to explain it. In 2011, several Iranian nuclear facilities experienced simultaneous equipment failures that destroyed critical centrifuges. Iran blamed Western sabotage, but the pattern of destruction, perfect circular holes melted through metal components, matched descriptions of Tesla's particle beam effects. In 2017, American diplomats in Cuba began experiencing mysterious symptoms: headaches, nausea, hearing loss, and cognitive problems. The CIA concluded they had been attacked with directed energy weapons, though they couldn't identify who had attacked them or what technology was used. And most disturbing of all, in 2019, a commercial aircraft flying over the Atlantic reported seeing a beam of blue light shoot up from the ocean surface, passing just meters from their wing. Radar detected nothing. Satellites detected nothing. But dozens of passengers and crew witnessed the event. Was this an accidental near-miss with a test of electromagnetic weapons? Or a deliberate warning that such technology exists and can reach anywhere on Earth? The technology that could end civilization. Here's the terrifying truth that governments have been trying to suppress for 90 years. Tesla's electromagnetic defense system works. It's real. And if fully developed and deployed, it would fundamentally break the global order. A nation with a working Tesla shield would be invulnerable to conventional military attack. Missiles would be vaporized before reaching their targets. Aircraft would be destroyed the instant they crossed into protected airspace. Even nuclear weapons would be neutralized by particle beams that could detonate them in flight. But that's not the most dangerous aspect of the technology. The truly frightening part is that the same system that provides perfect defense can be turned outward to become the ultimate offensive weapon. Tesla's particle beam doesn't just work in the atmosphere. It can propagate through the vacuum of space, striking targets on the other side of the planet with no advance warning and no defense. A nation with this technology could destroy any target anywhere on Earth in seconds, and no one would be able to stop them or even prove who had launched the attack. This is why the technology has been suppressed. Not because it doesn't work, but because it works too well. It's a first-strike weapon that guarantees victory to whoever uses it first. It's mutual assured destruction without the mutual part. If such technology became widely available, it would create an impossible arms race where the only winning move is to strike before your enemy completes their own system. It would make nuclear weapons obsolete and replace them with something even more terrifying. Weapons that can't be seen coming and can't be defended against. This is the nightmare scenario that governments have been trying to prevent since 1943. And they may be failing. The present danger. Today, 3 nations, the United States, Russia, and China, are all actively developing Tesla-based electromagnetic weapons. They're doing it in secret, they're denying it publicly, but the evidence is overwhelming that we're in the middle of a covert arms race that most of the world doesn't even know is happening. And here's the most disturbing part. We may already be living under these weapons' invisible shadow. The technology to project deadly energy beams across continents may already be operational, pointed at cities around the world, ready to fire at a moment's notice. Tesla wanted to give the world a weapon that would end all wars by making warfare obsolete. Instead, his invention may become the weapon that starts the final war, the one that ends human civilization. The governments that suppressed Tesla's research knew this. They understood that some technologies are too dangerous to exist. But in trying to keep the secret, they may have only delayed the inevitable. Because now, nearly a century after Tesla announced his death beam to the world, that technology is emerging from the shadows. And once it's fully developed, once it's deployed, once the first shot is fired, there may be no going back. Tesla believed that energy, frequency, and vibration were the keys to understanding the universe. He was right, but what he didn't foresee is that those same keys might also unlock the door to humanity's extinction. The shield that was meant to protect us all may become the sword that destroys us. And somewhere, in classified facilities hidden beneath military bases around the world, Tesla's final invention waits in the darkness, ready to be awakened. The question isn't whether Tesla's electromagnetic defense system works. The question is, what happens when it's finally used? We may be about to find out.